Welcome back to my window. While the snow is falling, you usually don't think about hitting the links, but what if you could learn to golf in just 13 weeks while the snow is on the ground? Mackenzie Wilson, in partnership with Pro Golf Bend, is going to do just that and learn from the inside to get ready for the outside. Take a look.
I've had a lot of golf lessons in my life if you consider the ones I've had from my dad, my brother, my boyfriend, where they always end in fights. So today I'm bringing in a pro, Andy Heinley. He's gonna show me a little bit about how to pick the right equipment for myself and how to hit amazingly, right?
That's correct.
Okay, well, let's do it. What do I start with?
Well, Mackenzie, I'm excited that you've chosen to go in this direction and you kind of
The right direction.
do some myths and things, but it's exciting. You've got a lot of opportunities out there to play, and I think you'll have some fun. So one of the first things I want to do is just to watch you swing. I'm not gonna tell you what I'm looking at. I just want to observe what you do so I can kind of get an idea of where we need to go. So if you want to just go ahead and hit a shot into the simulator here, and we'll see kind of what happens.
I've already taken a few practice swings, so we'll just get right into it. At least that one went straight for the first time in my life.
Straight. So one thing first thing I've observed, and I just kind of watched when you came in here, is that it looks like those clubs were given to you by Dad, maybe a hand-me-down.
Yep.
And so that's one of the first things I like to address is just the equipment that somebody has brought to me. These clubs are not made for you. These are made for your dad. And so we want to put something in your hand that I think is going to give you a lot more reward when we get a good swing going. So I'm going to grab a club that I've put together that I think will fit you. Club fitting is important to each person, and everybody's a little bit different, but especially ladies. This is going to be a graphite shaft. The fitting is important to give you, you'll be able to swing it. You can see how much lighter it is.
Lighter.
And the flex is going to be important for you to get the ball up in the air, and that's a good thing in golf. So I'm going to have you do the same thing. I'm just going to watch you make a swing with that club, and then we can kind of address a lot more club head speed. So there's some things that I just watch for when I first watch somebody swing. We're going to talk about some good fundamentals, and that's where the direction that we're going to go, because I want you to start out making sure that you're doing things the same way every single time and doing it consistently. And some of the things I've noticed that I can see through your head, that maybe your dad's told you to keep your head down or straight left arm, or whatever those things that are going through there. And we're just going to get you to where we're swinging the club, we're getting some good rewards, but we're going to start out making sure the fundamentals are there. And we're going to start out with talking about the first thing is going to be the grip, and then how we aim, and then how we set our posture and stance. And so that'll go on forward, but the grip is going to be the very first thing that we're going to look at.
Well, Andy, I really like you because you've given me an excuse for being poor at golf for a couple of years now, because I didn't have the right equipment.
There you go.
I can blame my dad, basically everyone else, but I am going to take the first step, get better at golf, and next Friday we're going to tackle the grip, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
You bet.
Every Friday for the next 13 weeks, our friends from Pro Golf Bend will be showing us that you too can learn the basics of golf, guaranteeing less embarrassment on the greens. Owner and PGA Golf Pro Andy Heinley is here from Pro Golf Bend. I love that we're doing this for 13 weeks long. I mean, in the winter too. I didn't even have any clue that this was even an option here.
And it's a great option because we've got a great simulator in our shop, and what I love about it from a teaching standpoint is I get to see the actual ball flight. You see it all the way through the picture on the screen. You get to see the numbers of how the ball is flying, the spin ratio, all that stuff. So it's a great tool, and I love teaching in it.
And first out of the gate, we just saw you with Mackenzie, and it's of utmost importance, the fit of your club. And it's very different for everybody, for a man, woman, and height and strength, I imagine, too.
Absolutely, and with Mackenzie,
skill level, too.
Yeah, it was a classic example with Mackenzie. She brought some clubs, and it was clearly hand-me-down clubs from her dad.
Were they wooden?
Well, they weren't.
Top
Well,
to bottom?
she actually did have a wood 7-wood from Ping, and the other clubs were very stiff. with big grips that didn't fit. I could barely use them.
Yeah.
And so here's little Mackenzie, who's good athletic, but she's very slight, and so we put her into a club that worked really well for her. So that's what we do. We make sure people get the proper equipment to fit them. We don't like people working for the equipment. We like the equipment working for the people.
Right, right. Okay, so what's next after this? So now we've got the right fit down. When you're really walking in and you're completely I go out and golf, and I can hit a great ball, and then I can just mulligan right and left, and I have no clue. I mean, the swing feels the same to me.
Sure.
Everything feels exactly the same, and I'm sure it's just these little tiny things. But what's next after the fit?
Well, I start out with the fundamentals. I mean, I've been a coach I've coached kids basketball, baseball, everything, and so I dig it from a coaching standpoint of, the fundamentals. And so we really work on the grip, number one, how we aim the club face to the intended target, and how we set up our stance so we can build a good foundation in order to make the swing work for us.
Right.
And so I really work on fundamentals, and we worked on the grip, number one, with Mackenzie, making sure that the hands were on the golf club in order to bring the the club face back to the ball consistently.
Is there a different grip for different people? I mean, or is it more or less the same?
People, I think
I know some people have their own styles, but
Sure.
when you walk in, is there some kind of grip that you always try to teach somebody?
I try to keep it as neutral as possible. So when people naturally swing the club, their hands are doing something that they're having to think about, making any kind of compensating moves. And so I try to put their hands on the club in a very neutral position, rather than a strong position where they have to actually make a compensation to keep the club from doing, closing down, little things like that. And so I try to keep everything as neutral and natural as possible. Some people I have to work with because they like the feel of it, and this is kind of how they were originally taught. And so sometimes grip changes are the worst, because that's where all the feel is.
Right.
So I do modifications, but they have to understand that by modifying it, they have to do something a little bit different in their swing.
Yeah, well, and what we saw was the simulator. I mean, this is something that you can go in. Let's talk a little more about that. It really is. It's not just hitting a ball into a net and having it look like Atari.
Exactly.
It's really scientific at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the best. If anybody sees the Golf Channel or anything like that, it's the same simulator that they'll see on the Golf Channel, where you'll actually, when the ball is in the air, you actually see the ball flight. There's specific targets you can go to. We actually have a couple dozen courses. You can play the course from tee to green and all the way through. So we can set up a KP.
Do you have the Reed Sport Country Club?
I don't think that one's quite in there.
Yeah,
but,
we'll see if we can't get that one in
there
there soon.
we go.
But
so it's really it's not only fun, but it's we sell a 10-visit punch card for the simulator, and people can come in there and use it as long as they want to. It never expires, but they can book an hour and just come in and hit balls just like they would on a range in a very nice controlled environment during the winter time, and work on swing changes. And there's no expectations for scoring, or you're not with anybody, and so it's really a great way to learn and to train yourself, so when you come out of the spring, the rust is kind of off.
Right, and so this will tell you the ball's spinning to the right. It bounced a certain amount of times on a certain green, and it will really give you an idea of. I mean, will it be like turn your hand to the right and turn your hips like? Is that where you come in? That
Exactly.
You go, that you're looking at this going, oh, I can see exactly what you're doing wrong. So just make this minor adjustment.
The Doppler radar picks up the spin of the ball, and so it not only gives you your club head speed, the ball speed, the launch angle, the ball's taking off, how much backspin there is on it, how far it flew in the air, how far it rolled when it landed.
Yeah.
And so I get all that information. And so when somebody's trying to work on changes, they actually get to see, yep, that went lower and further, and so we can dial in on that specifics. So it's just a great way to learn and a great way to make changes.
And in 13 weeks, you can learn, the basics of golf.
13 weeks is going to be, that's from an instructional standpoint, that's an ideal thing for me, because I work with somebody consistently for a long period of time. A lot of times I'll see people and we'll work on a couple things once in a while.
Yeah.
But to be able to take somebody and actually be with them through that period of time is going to be a blast, because you can really see the benefit, and you'll be able to see some drastic changes.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be a challenge between John and Mackenzie after this out on the links post 13 weeks. But really, every Friday for the next 13 weeks, we'll be showing Mackenzie's progress working with you, and I really looking forward to see where she started, where she ended, and hear the feedback. We'll have you back on the show at the end and hear the update.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
And then the challenge, the office challenges will be on.
There we go. Yeah, that's great.
All right, Andy. Well, thank you for coming out today. My window, we'll be right back.